Okay, great. Thanks for recording, David, and hello once again. I'm Linde Grebe from the Good Governance Academy, especially the Research Forum. And one of our forums on our Academy's website is the Integrating Organizations, the big operating model of David Dunning. He has hosted a series of events on strategy integration and implementation. And we are privileged to, from the Good Governance Academy side, to interview or have a quick review of his sessions today again. And the reason for that is that we're especially interested in the corporate governance or the good governance angle on what he's presented on integrating your strategy and organization. So from my side, David, please just tell us a bit more about your series and your collaboration, your company and everyone involved in this.
Well, thanks, Lindy. So first of all, this framework, this set of knowledge, business integrated governance, has been developed by a community interest company. It's called the Core P3M Data Club. So it's shared and available in the public domain. There's a few of us that work around it who have interest in it and helping organizations adopt it. We put together a short series of events which explored the pains people have in strategy delivery. We explored the personas that might be interested in improving that. We looked into accountability and empowerment. We looked into strategy information and the backbone for strategy delivery. And latterly made the connection between improving strategy delivery and effective governance, and effective governance through the organization, from corporate governance through to the governance on the smallest project. And that's what we're talking about today, I guess.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm going to labor this governance aspect a lot because before we get to that, please just give us a high level, a brief overview of what you mean by business integrated governance. Is that, like we've had a brief discussion beforehand, and my question was, if you say governance, is it the PMO, or do you also include corporate governance, as in when we speak about a code of good corporate governance, ISO 37000, etc.?
Well, I guess governance has a number of aspects to it. Setting of policy and procedure, compliance, enabling decision making. So we think governance is all of the above and embrace the wider definition of what governance is. But I guess where we're talking about business integrated governance, we're really looking to integrate all of the little circles and spheres of governance that might be operating within an organization. So so we can support and service all of them and enable them all to work together, right from all the interests at the corporate level in corporate governance, through to portfolio governance, governance of business units, governance of product development. We look to get all those circles working and touching and collaborating more effectively. That's the business integrated governance theory and approach.
Absolutely, because like you're saying, if your system of control on a business or a transaction level works and risks are mitigated, etc., you contribute towards corporate governance. You're applying and you're doing corporate governance. It's what I find interesting about that, and where I'm coming from is so often in our conversations about corporate governance and the codes on good corporate governance and the ISOs and the guidance and principles, we always say, it's ended up being a compliance exercise, a tick box exercise where top management just need to do it for the record. And we need to change that so that it's even more principle based, or at least being practiced, not only complied with or checked off by the end of the year when being assured, or through your whatever, even your continuous assurance. But what you're saying here could be a way forward. That could be an example of the practical application, the actual practicing, but also the integration of corporate governance from a top level to really business operations.
Well, yes. I mean, we certainly need folks to help us focus on doing the right things the right way, and keeping within the boundaries of the law at a very high level. But it's not so that compliance aspect is crucial and vital. We all understand and agree with that. But I guess the point of integrated governance is to include that, but also help us on the journey from business purpose to vision to the strategy that we have to achieve that, and then look at the cascade of that through the organization. And I guess governance needs to operate at all those levels and synchronize and harmonize, so that we can set the integration, set the direction and cascade what we expect, but also receive and integrate what the response is, and get the right balance between direction and innovation.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
corporate governance for us is one of those innate things we need to build and bake into the business, not just sprinkle on top like chocolate chips on a cookie.
Yeah, window dressing. Absolutely. And then, so if you really integrate it, well, the different aspects, I mean, it's so broad and so wide, but the spirit thereof, you should embed it in the actual everyday practices and praxis, hey? And so is there room for corporate governance, like, the codes, to have a bigger input or inform to a larger degree the everyday, for example, PMO activities and strategies, etc.?
Well, absolutely. I mean, ISO 37000 wasn't around when we started the big stuff, but September 2021, September 21 now. It's available, and there's a great set of principles there we can run the organization by. They're a fantastic set of principles, and lots of goodness there that is really focused on corporate governance. But there are elements of that which we can use through the business. The focus on value generation clearly is of vital importance. We need to get every level of governance having the people involved and being accountable focused on value generation. The focus on strategy and getting those to align. There's a clear focus on strategy within ISO 37000. But also accountability, and for us, accountability and the operation of accountability is fundamental to governance at every level. And a clear finding from some of our events was that without people being accountable, we've got little hope of achieving strategy delivery, and little hope of achieving our purpose, irrespective as to how much compliance we layer onto people. So for us, we need to build that integrated governance framework that gets us from strategy to delivery and back again, whilst also staying legal and being compliant with all the things we need to be compliant with.
Absolutely, from strategy to delivery to a whole business process characterized by good corporate governance.
Absolutely.
That's really embedded in on different levels of business, not only top management, not only about setting the tone at the top and the composition of the board of directors.
Absolutely, we have to cascade it and connect it, and lots of the principles in 37K work at the lower levels. So let's leverage that goodness and improve our governance, not just at the top, but throughout the organization.
True. The King report starts with, the tone is set at the top, but it does not only belong at the top, it's only set there, and it should come down, and it should infiltrate the entire business through processes where appropriate, I guess. Because I as an auditor, I think about systems of internal control. That's where you see governance on a business process level, risk mitigation through systems of internal control. But I wonder how often, when I think about systems of internal control, I think so much about the financial system. But how clear is the good governance and how visible is it there as well? Is there not more that we can bring into our system of internal control that relates not only about financial control and risk, but so much more? So that's really food for thought.
Well, in my little business, we have to prepare accounts. We have to look back and reflect on performance. But in terms of meeting the purpose and objectives for that little organization, we need to look forwards. So we need to account for where we are and so on, but we need to project and we need to forecast. So and our governance framework needs, in our view, the ability to look at those forecasts, look at the related risks, and look at the projections, to look at all the possibilities of to where we could deploy resources and funds, to be able to prioritize and make good choices, and to be able to make those decisions sensibly and systematically. So for us, we need the historical look back and check, but what we're focused on a lot is making sure that our strategy delivery, that our forward aspect of that, our forecasting is equally well scrutinized and looked into.
Absolutely. That's such an important point you're making, because as an accountant, I'm thinking of governance being reported on in the director's report and, in the annual report. So it's reflective, it's historical reporting. Well, it's not limited to that, but there's so much focus on that, and that really would result in compliance-driven corporate governance, wouldn't it? Forward-looking corporate governance is important. You need to embed it in your business in such a way that it would be included in your strategic planning, in your forward-looking, in your projecting, etc. And the only reason, or the carrot, like we said earlier in our little chat, the carrot there would be to understand the value added by corporate governance. Don't you agree? You would only include it in your strategic plan and your way forward effectively if you understand that it adds value to your organization. But I think it's not that simple, because it's not part of your core business operation or your core business, right? So how do you then define the value add, or measure or identify value from corporate governance?
Well, corporate governance and governance generally for us, making the right decisions is where we're coming from. Are we listening to the right information? Are we addressing the right risks? Are we looking at the right opportunities? Are we addressing threats? So that there's that aspect to it. But the importance of governance for us is that we're making the right decisions, and that means we're going to deploy funds and people the right way in the future. And for us, it's inescapable that if we want to be effective and efficient, we need to invest in the operation of governance to enable us to manage information, so we can make it slick and easy and believable. But the whole rationale behind BIG is that we're using governance to help us achieve more strategic deliverables. So that the case for business integrated governance isn't that we can make compliance and existing governance more efficient and effective. It's that we're using better decision making to achieve our strategic objectives. And that's the pitch to the CEO. The pitch to the CEO is it's not to help things be better and that you'll feel better about having ticked more boxes. It's getting that greater connection from strategy delivery and greater control in doing so.
Mm.